De Mermaid's Tear, Vol. The fisherman in our salty, wind-bitten village. My grandfather was the only one who ever spoke of mermaids without a trace of a joke. He called them the sea heart's daughters, creatures of salt and sorrow and impossible song. He also, crucially, was the only one who knew how to catch one. So, he didn't mean it like the old stories, with nets and harpoons and foolish greed. To catch a mermaid, Finn, he'd say, his voice a low rumble like the tide over stones. You must first understand what you're not catching. You're not catching a fish, you're not catching a prize. You are catching a moment, a secret, and you must be worthy of it. His method required no hook, no steel, no trap. It required 3 things, he said: silence, memory, and a mirror. The silence was not just the absence of sound. It was the silence of the self. You had to go out in your small boat at the twilight hour, when the sky and sea bled into one another and became a bruised, beautiful whole. You had to still the clamor in your own heart, the worries about the catch, the money, the mending of nets. You had to become a hollow shell, filled only with the sound of the water lapping against the hull. The memory was the bait. Mermaids, he claimed, are drawn to potent human emotion, the way sharks are drawn to blood, but not anger or fear. They are connoisseurs of pure, profound feeling. Love, most of all. Lost love. You must think of her, he told me once, his old eyes on the horizon. Think of your grandmother, not just her face, but the smell of her hair in the rain, the sound of her laughter from the other room, the exact weight of her hand in yours. You must pour that memory out of your heart and into the sea like an offering. It is the only thing valuable enough to lure something that has everything the ocean can provide. The mirror was the trap. Not a glass mirror, which would shatter and be useless, but a large, flat disc of polished silver, tied with a single cord of white silk. You were to lower it into the water, just below the surface, and hold it perfectly steady. The sea heart's daughters are vain, he explained, but not in the way of kings and queens. They have never seen their own face. Not truly. The water is a moving, distorting thing. The silver gives them a stillness, a truth they cannot resist. For years, I thought it was just a beautiful story, an old man's poetry. But after he was gone, and the silence of my own house became too loud to bear, I found myself taking his old skiff out at dusk. I had no belief, only a need to feel close to him. I rowed beyond the harbor, to where the water was a dark, breathing plum color. I did as he said. I stilled my mind. It was hard. The clatter of life fought for attention, but I pushed it away, breath by breath. I became the silence. Then, I thought of Alara, my wife, who had been gone to winters. I didn't just think of her. I let the memory drown me. I remembered the freckle just below her left eye, the way she'd hum off-key while tending her garden, the fierce protective light in her eyes when she spoke of things she loved. The ache of her absence was a physical pain, a hook in my own heart. I poured it all out, offering my deepest sorrow to the deep. With trembling hands, I lowered the silver disc into the black water. I held the silk cord, keeping the mirror perfectly steady. My arms burned, but I didn't move. I was silence. I was memory. Minutes stretched. The cold seeped into my bones. Doubt began to whisper. A fool's errand. A children's tale. And then, the water around the mirror began to glow. It was a soft phosphorescent light, like a cloud of submerged stars. From the inky depths, a form emerged. She was more and less than the stories. There were no seashells, no vanity. Her skin was the color of moonlight on water, and her hair was a swirl of dark seaweed, moving with a current of its own. Her eyes were vast and ancient, the color of the deep abyss. She didn't look at me. She was captivated by the mirror. She drifted up to it, her expression one of awe and terrifying hunger. She saw her own face for the first time. She saw the elegant arch of her brow, the full, solemn curve of her lips, the startling, lonely beauty of her own eyes. She reached a slender, webbed hand out, not to touch the silver, but to touch the reflection. Her fingers meeting their twin in the cool barrier between water and air. She was caught. Not by rope or net, but by wonder, by a glimpse of her own soul. I held my breath. I was the silence. I was the memory. And then she wept. A single tear, luminous and perfect, welled in the corner of her abyssal eye. It traced a path down her cheek and fell, did not dissolve into the sea. It fell like a pearl, solid and real, and landed with a soft plink onto the surface of the silver mirror. It rested there, glowing with a soft internal light. The sound broke the spell. Her eyes flickered from her reflection to me. There was no fear, no anger. There was a deep, knowing sadness, an understanding that passed between us. She saw my memory, my loss, reflected in my own eyes. I saw her eternal, lonely existence in hers. She held my gaze for a heartbeat longer, then turned and vanished into the dark. Her tail, a flicker of silver and shadow, gone as if she had never been. I carefully, reverently, lifted the mirror from the water. The mermaid's tears sat in its center, a perfect, glowing pearl. It was not cold. It held a warmth, a pulse like a tiny, captured heartbeat. I rowed back to shore in the dark, the pearl clutched in my hand. I had caught a mermaid. Not her body, not her freedom. I had caught a moment of her essence, a shared secret between the land and the sea. I keep the tear in a small wooden box. On nights when the silence of the house is too deep, I take it out. Its warm light fills the room, and I can feel the vast, quiet presence of the ocean, and the beautiful, sorrowful creature who gave a lonely fisherman a piece of her heart in exchange for a glimpse of her own. That is how you catch a mermaid. You offer a piece of your own heart as bait, and you trap not the creature, but a moment of its truth. And if you are worthy, it will leave you a treasure to remember it by. Not gold or glory, but a pearl born of understanding, a solace for the silence. The end. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe.